Hey guys, I've been meaning to do some research on climate tech, and I might kind of create a couple of videos on the same topic. This one is the first one. I think there are two terms which is being used in media and in all discussions. Number one is net zero, and the second one is carbon neutrality. So let's talk about what are those terms. There is a very important difference between these two terms. When somebody says that as an organization or as a country we are chasing to be we are aiming to be not net zero by a certain date. So a lot of countries are trying to be net zero by 2050. What does it really mean? It means that you will not use any fossil fuel energy sources, and you will one day use renewable energy sources, and your GHG emissions, greenhouse gases emissions, will be completely zero. So that's what you mean when you say that I am aiming to be net zero, that any energy consumption that you're making, the net effect is zero. The second concept is carbon neutrality. And when it comes to carbon neutrality, what people usually mean is that you either invest in carbon sequestration projects or carbon removal projects, or you reduce your energy reliance on fossil fuels. So if someone says that as a company, I am trying to be carbon neutral, what it really means is that they are either investing in carbon removal projects, and they are also trying to reduce their energy consumption from fossil fuel sources. And in a lot of times, companies also buy carbon credits to offset the greenhouse gases that they emit. So carbon offsetting also includes carbon sequestration or buying carbon credits. Now, a little bit of background about climate tech and why it is important to look into it, why everyone, like countries and companies, are investing, or they're trying to kind of have a strategy around how can we really reduce the global impact of warming, of global warming. So a little bit of background that when you look at Earth, and when we receive our sunlight, um, we reflect about 70% of the sunlight back into the space, and about 30% is absorbed by Earth's atmosphere and Earth's surface. And a little bit more factual information about Earth's atmosphere is that in Earth's atmosphere, about 78% is nitrogen, about 21% is oxygen, and about 0.1% is greenhouse gases. They look pretty small in fraction, but they produce quite a negative kind of impact on overall well-being of any living creatures or life on Earth. And about 0.9% is the inert gas argon. And now let's talk about why it is becoming more important, and what's really happening because of all these carbon emissions that are happening because of industrialization and all. So one particular kind of benchmark, or one particular baseline which is very important in the history of life at Earth, is that about 100 years back, when industrialization started happening. Since then, humans have started investing in a lot of factories and manufacturing and things like that, and we are also consuming at a consumer level, at an individual level. We are consuming a lot more energy, and what all of this have contributed is to in more greenhouse gas emissions. So in the last 100 years, average global temperature has increased from 13.5 to 14.5 degrees, and countries are pledging to kind of reach net zero by 2050, and they are trying to control this rise in temperature within 1.5 degrees of pre-industrial levels. And now let's talk about what these numbers really mean in the context of our day-to-day life. So at 1.5 degrees, about 14% of global population will experience severe heat waves every 5 years. And at 2 degrees, more than one third of population will experience severe heat waves in 5 years. And another negative impact that you can easily kind of relate to or easily understand is that at 1.5 degrees, wheat and corn productions are at 9% and 3% lower, but at 2% the wheat and corn productions will be 16% and 5% lower. So between 1.5 to 2%, the wheat and corn production reduction in wheat and corn production will be double. And the next one is also about rise in sea levels. So 70% of Earth's coastline would see a rise in sea levels by 50 centimeters at 2 degrees by 2100 by 22nd century relative to 21st century. So, and at 1.5 degrees, the sea levels will rise by 40 centimeter, and this will kind of result into excessive coastal flooding. So as you can see that what are these carbon neutrality and net zero goals or terms really mean, how our Earth's atmosphere play out, what is the composition of our Earth's atmosphere, and when did that trigger point happen when the GHG emissions started to impact us negatively, and what is the impact of increasing global temperature by 2050 or 2100. We are about 1.1 degrees right now, and with this kind of increase in kind of greenhouse gas emissions, we will be probably 1.5 degrees by 2050. And we are trying to make sure that we are within that range. Otherwise, there will be excessive flooding. There will be reduction in food production, and also there will be a lot more severe heat waves because of this rise in global temperature. Yep.